Good evening and welcome to this edition of Newsnight. My name is Charles Odongtho, and this evening, the old man of the clan, Andrew Mwenda, CEO of the Independent News Magazine, is back here to split the atom. Is that true?
I don't split the atom. I analyze issues.
You analyze the issues?
Yes.
Now, Andrew, you're most welcome back.
Thank you.
Yesterday, you were enjoying the calmness of some peaceful city. What was going on?
New Delhi.
New Delhi.
Yes.
What's this?
Let's discuss the issues that brought us here.
Good. Now, this evening, we are going to be looking at the impact of that SEC meeting that finally decided that we are not ready to go to the public yet. The NRM MPs must wait until SEC takes a decision. Andrew, what exactly happened?
I think that, the NRM does not have money. You see, the MPs were waiting for NRM to give them sacks of money to go around the country decampaigning or detoxicating the toxins that had been spread by Mbabazi's campaign agents. Now, I think that President Museveni must have seen through it that the MPs also were not only interested in detoxicating,
but to campaign for themselves. To
campaign for themselves at his expense and also to make money for themselves. As we have discussed before, that the members of parliament of Uganda are heavily indebted. Very many, about 60% do not even earn 50% of their salaries. Mm-hmm. So that was the first reason. The second reason, I think that, remember that although Museveni would want to neutralize any potential threat that may come from Amama Mbabazi and his wife, Museveni does not want to alienate Mbabazi because he knows that if he has an open war against Mbabazi, and Mbabazi, even if Mbabazi does not get angry and break away from the NRM, it will strengthen Mbabazi's profile within NRM and in the country as an alternative leader to Museveni. So Museveni's interest is to avoid a situation of inadvertently promoting Mbabazi's
Let's
name.
just string that in. Let's just rope that in with what happened yesterday. I'm told at the plot 10, Chadondo Road, the NRM's party headquarters, a group of, I'm told there were so many, who came and were cheering Mbabazi and singing the slogan, no change, Party Secretary General Mbabazi, no change, Museveni, no change. What did this mean? Does it mean that actually Mbabazi had over-mobilized people, that the NRM, maybe caucus, Museveni, did not actually know his potential?
You see, this story of the rift between Museveni and Imama Mbabazi was broken by the Independent on the 6th of December last year, and since then the debate has remained there. If you read the edition of that Independent, there is a story of how Museveni had called a meeting of NEC, where Mbabazi was supposed to resign as Secretary General. And then the president asked...
The one of 2012,
yes,
that NEC meeting.
The president asked people to stand up and express themselves. About 300 hands went up out of a meeting of 500. And then the president stood at the microphone and people queued. And the speaker after speaker, up to around about 250, were standing up and saying, Mr. President, we want Mbabazi to remain
Secretary General.
So, within NEC, Mbabazi has a sizable following of people who think he should remain Secretary General, the people who elected him. And Museveni read it then. One of the reasons why Museveni did not use the structures of the party to neutralize Mbabazi's perceived or real presidential ambitions is because he knew that within the party, especially the Delegates Conference and the National, which is called the National Conference, and the National Executive Council, Mbabazi has sufficient support. So Museveni decided to use what you would call a decoy by approaching Mbabazi from where he least expected an attack, using a body, which is the NRM caucus, parliamentary caucus, which has no authority whatsoever to make decisions on behalf of the party, to initially threaten and decapitate Mbabazi. And Museveni, I'm sure, is still disinclined to use the structures of the party to try to fight Mbabazi until he has assured himself
that is down,
that he has acquired sufficient support within NEC and the National Conference. Now, let me tell you this. If you look at the president's agenda for 2014.
2014 or 16?
No, 2014. The president has a calendar of activities. He has requested that most people who invite him to open factories and things like that, he does not want to attend to those. He has a camp. He will be touring the whole country, every constituency in this country, which there are about 300 of them. He's going to visit every constituency in the country and address rallies and personally meet people. By the time this year ends, I can tell you, Museveni will be in a strong position by 2015 to call NEC and they vote him the sole presidential candidate of the NRM.
Now, there is something that someone told me today and yesterday. I was having discussions with some of these NRM MPs. One person told me, our role has been played, that the mission that we were meant to deliver has been achieved. So whatever is happening, you now see the Prime Minister talking. He went to Bouquet Day in Luganda, he went to radios, last weekend, he was on Voice of Chigezi and all that. What is this that has been achieved? And was it achieved properly in your view?
Yes, I think that initially Museveni was able to achieve an important tactical victory, but I would not consider it strategic, because a lot of it depends on whether Mbabazi is willing to take on Museveni and take this battle further. And I don't think Mbabazi has the appetite to do so. And if he has the appetite, I don't think he has the courage and the stamina to, or even the stupidity for that matter, to want to take it. Let me tell you, if you are Mbabazi and you say you are going to challenge Museveni, the costs, there is evil that will be visited upon you. You will be charged with homosexual rape. Now the law has been signed. You will be charged with treason. You will be charged with all sorts of crimes, corruption, and they will throw single thing at him. Museveni still controls the most important and decisive instruments of the state, the security services, the military, the police under Kale Kaihura, who have heavily and successfully infiltrated.
He has actually arrested several of these youth, and many of them are still in jail.
I can speak without fear of contradiction that the police is in possession of not less than 2,000 sworn statements of people who say, I had been recruited by Jacqueline Mbabazi or Hope Mwesije to campaign for Amama Mbabazi. More than 2,000 statements that are signed. And the police has transcripts of conversations of so many others who were discussing the Mbabazi campaign. So this is not just simple. So one of the greatest things that Kaihura has achieved, I think that Kaihura has been the most strategic weapon in Museveni's arsenal. He has been able to infiltrate and mobilize youth who have been protesting with Besigye, heavily infiltrated. That's why it's very difficult for Besigye to sustain protests on the streets. And two, he has infiltrated the Mbabazi campaign up to the last man. So on that basis, if you are Mbabazi, the best weapon you have is to remain loyal to the party and hope that you can achieve succession from within rather than by challenging Museveni. It is by collaborating with Museveni and perhaps creating opportunities for him to retire so that he can hand over the presidency to you. But I don't think that if Mbabazi decided to fight Museveni for the presidency, he has any chance in hell to succeed. I don't think so.
The majority of the people who talk on media, whether they be in the NRM, whether they be outside, Ugandans who mind about democracy building in this country, say that this fight between Mbabazi and Museveni has exposed probably the future that is supposed to be wobbly in this country, in the NRM, the ruling party. What's your view of that? I
think that they may be partly right, but you see, I told you in social sciences, the only way I can judge NRM is by looking at similar organizations like it that went to the bush and captured power after protracted struggle. All of them, RPF in Rwanda, Frelimo in Mozambique, in Ethiopia, Angola, Eritrea, Cuba, Guinea-Bissau, China, and Vietnam. These groups don't lose power. The founding leader always dies in office, and when he dies in office, there is always a peaceful succession. So the characteristic trait of these post-revolutionary or post-armed struggle governments is that you will have a peaceful succession, and that peaceful succession is always organized internally, not against the founding leader, but only when the founding leader, like Castro, decides to voluntarily hand over power or dies in office like Meles Zenawi or Samora Machel did.
How would that work in a situation of Uganda, where now you have removed all potential rivals within the party, first of all, and then you are now looking at nobody? Or is this the time that Uganda, now we are going to see
in Uganda,
soldiers take over the army?
What has happened is actually this struggle has destroyed the chances of Mbabazi being a successor inside the NRM. What it has created is
or even caused fear in people like Kadaga or any other person for that matter.
But what it has done, it has strengthened two people. One, a potential for family succession. Now, I am convinced that a potential for Edward II becoming president. You see, if Museveni died today, many people...
And it is beautiful you talk about that, because I've had a problem with your initial analysis, because it was not bringing in the constitutional placement of Sekandi, because that is something that you cannot avoid.
About Sekandi, that if Museveni died today, Sekandi becomes president. I think the constitutional process will be followed, yes. Then the challenge is, will Sekandi now decide to run as the NRM flag bearer in in the election. Because
will follow.
within 6 months, because there has to be an NRM primary which has to elect a president. I'm sure Mbabazi will run, and second will join the fray, and I suspect Janet would. So the question would be...
And Kadaga probably from the east would.
Yes. Kadaga would be a which candidate? But it is possible that NRM leaders, in their desire to stop Mbabazi, could rally around Janet because of the brand name of the Museveni clan. But the other alternative is like even the Museveni clan themselves, knowing the hostility of many other Ugandans against family succession, they may rally around Second saying he is weak and therefore can be controlled. And therefore, even if Second himself is not interested in running, the security services, the army officers, plus the Museveni family may come and say, we will support you. So it is possible that Second can actually become president now. Of course, Second can later surprise us like Moi surprised the Kenyans.
Yes.
And he takes power and
becomes very strong.
Reforms the army, becomes strong, and all of a sudden, Second, whom Mwenda was saying, oh, he's a very weak guy, all of a sudden is another Daniel Arap Moi.
Is Janet really that strong? What is her constituency apart from the Pentecostals? And
let me tell you, one, she has the Museveni brand name. The most popular political name in Uganda is the Museveni brand name. Two, she has the Museveni loyalties. You tell me one single person who holds any position of importance in Uganda, in business or in the government, who has not been appointed by Museveni over the last 28 years. So he has a lot of loyalties there. Three, Muhoozi controls the army. That's a strategic advantage. And four, she has the evangelical vote. Then she has the women's vote. And Janet, as an individual, is a very passionate person and an incredible campaigner. Have you ever dealt with her? Because you see, Janet will surprise many people because she is even willing and open. Have you read her book? To criticize the current government and point out mistakes where this government has failed. So she's not an easy person to run against, because if you
very unpredictable.
Yes, if you are campaigning on the basis of government failures, she can also campaign on the basis of those government failures and promise. And then she has an evangelical tone to her campaigns, which gives her passion. I think she would appeal to many people.
Well, thank you so much. That is Old Man of the Clan, Andrew Mwenda. My name is Charles Odong, so let me hand you back to the news.